Hey everyone, how's it going? Um, First off, we have a sponsor for this video. Pepsi Max. Maximum Pepsi taste, no sugar. That's not actually a sponsor, not a sponsor. But, yeah, Pepsi Max. Maximum taste, no sugar. Again, not a sponsor. I don't know how to review the book that I'm going to review today, which is Marvel Origins, the 60s. This actually, to me, the cover of this looks, or the cover of these specifically, the Marvel Ultimate Graphic Novel Collection, looks classier than the DC ones does, because I like the black backdrop, the like silvered things, the like gloss here. What you can't tell on the camera is the feel of this is very nice, and it's that typical hardback, which, like I said before, I like the hardback. But what I mean by I don't know how to really review something like this is because it's a collection of the origins of the Marvel superheroes that were like created in the 80s. It's their first appearances. Their first appearances and their origins as well. So it collects Fantastic Four number 1, Amazing Fantasy number 15, Incredible Hulk number 1, Daredevil number 1, Tales of Suspense number 39, Uncanny X-Men issue 1, Avengers issue 1, Avengers issue 4, Tales to Astonish issue 27, and Tales to Astonish issue 44. So yeah, I don't know how to review this because it's not a solid storyline. It's kind of just the origins of Hulk. It's the origins of the Fantastic Four. It's the origins of the X-Men. It's the origins of Captain America. It's the origins of Ant-Man. It's the origins from all of the characters that were created in the 60s, apart from Thor and Doctor Strange, because they're getting their own collections of this, which is the next two, which I'll be reviewing very soon. So I'm just going to kind of briefly summarize the book as best I can. First of all, I'm not a big fan of like reading stuff from the 60s and from before the 80s. I'm just not a big fan of doing that. Mainly because the writing is very campy compared to nowadays. Trying to find something that that exemplifies this quite well. Here, where it's like it's very like cheesy in the way that it's written. It is definitely written like a show from that time as well. It's very 60s. Not in a bad way. It probably would have been very good if you were reading it at the time, but just now, reading it back now, it is very difficult to read. But that's not the fault of the book, that's kind of a fault of mine, because I just personally, I didn't grow up with this, so I'm not getting the nostalgia attachment to it. I just find it very difficult to read. It's the same thing that I had with JLA, but even more so here, because it is so much older. And that's no disrespect to the writer of this, who was actually Stan Lee, so I can't really moan about it too much. The stories here are good, and I probably would have enjoyed them at the time, but it's just reading back, it's difficult to go back and read an old 60s storyline, because it is so wordy and it is so campy the way that it's written. But either fortunately or unfortunately, the way I've decided to review these is to go in chronological order. So there's about so this is the number 1, but it's put there as a Roman numeral, because what this collection did is it had the usual 1 to 60 planned, that were numbered 1 to 60 on the spine, with number 1 being Iron Man Demon in a Bottle, which I will get to in due course. But then they added 40 more, which were stories from before Iron Man Demon in a Bottle, so that would have been the early 80s and onwards and back. From those would have been from the 60s to the early 80s, and then they had the 60 that they had planned to come out, and then they brought in even more, which is up to present day. So there's a lot of these. I think there's more of these than there are any others. So yeah, that's a thing. This is enjoyable only to the extent that if you want to get the origins and the first appearances of these cheap, because if you got these individual issues, like if you went and bought these individual issues, it would cost you a lot. I got this for like 10 quid, but if you were getting these original issues, like as singles, but today, it would set you back. It would set you back a lot, just because of how much they're worth now. Especially Amazing Spider-Man, especially Amazing Fantasy number 15, that would set you back a lot. But getting it like this is nice, and you're getting the quality hardback as well, and you're getting all the backup features, which is interesting because it has the origins of Marvel Comics. So it tells you how it used to be known as Timely Comics, and you get the foreword from Marco M. Lapoy, who is the person who put these books together. Well, he had the brilliant idea of making a collection of the best graphic novels that Marvel has made or produced. But yeah, you get all the backup stuff. You get a page which is basically a contents page. You get the art at the front. You get the art there, and you even get a backup. The last page is a further reading page, so it's got some which are just look at these books, spend more money, but it's also telling you books that will come across later on in the collection. So we have Fantastic Four: The Coming of Galactus, which is coming as a volume 5 as a volume 4, in the collection. We have Amazing Spider-Man: Death of the Stacys, which is coming as volume XIX. I have no idea what that word is. I'm not up to date with my Roman numerals. And we have Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, which comes as volume 6 and 7. So that's confusing because it's got volume 4 as Fantastic Four, it's got volume 4 as odd. Really odd. Bloody hell's going on with my lighting? We've got volume 4, which is the Fantastic Four Coming of Galactus, but that's in the Roman numerals. And then we've got volume 6 and 7, but those are the like regularly numbered ones. So that's gonna be later, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't, don't worry. It confuses me as well. It confused me when I got into the shop and I saw, oh, they've got Roman numerals and they got them here. What's even more confusing is they've got them now, is that now they've started reselling the original 60, but they've renumbered them. So what was number 22 is now number 34, which is confusing, extremely confusing. But we'll live, I guess. Pepsi Max, maximum taste, no sugar. I'll keep doing that every time I sip from Pepsi Max in any of my videos. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this. I guess a fun little tidbit is that originally the Hulk wasn't green, he was actually grey. But they changed the colour that they printed him as. They changed the colour that they would have printed him as, because, green is cheaper to print. I think green is just cheaper to print than grey. And also, it is a bit... I did feel a bit uncomfortable with the way that women were treated in this book. Or in comics in the early 60s. I get it was a different time, and it probably would have been more acceptable to say, half of the stuff here. And this isn't me going off on a tangent about, oh, you need to be SJW, politics, blah, blah, blah. But some of the stuff that they got away with in this is, bad. I mean, it's bad. You've got the whole X-Men, which at the start is just a team of 4, teenage boys, and then Jean Grey shows up, and they're just following her, drooling, and they're like, oh, that skin-tight costume makes me feel feelings. And it's like, no, that's bad. That's just bad. I don't like it. That's... I know some people are gonna think that's alright. Me, personally, it's just a little bit uncomfortable. And I know times were different back then, but still, you have a bit of class, have a bit of decency. But anyway, that's all I really have to say. I'm not going to be ranking this. I'm not going to be rating it out of 5, just because it's not a solid storyline, because it is so jumbled up. I don't feel it's right to rank it. And also because it is so old, and because my ranking will probably be very low for this, even though someone else who grew up in the 60s with the characters from the 60s will be like, what? That's blasphemy. How dare you not like Avengers #1, where they dressed Hulk up as a clown and did blah blah blah. I'm not even joking. The Hulk was originally, not even originally, the Hulk there's a scene in Avengers issue 1 where the Hulk is literally dressed up as a clown juggling animals. Like, you can't make that stuff up. But yeah, I'm not going to rank this because I feel like ranking it's a bit wrong, especially since not a actual storyline. It's just a collection of, you know, the origins and stuff, and it's too old that my opinion's going to be faltered because of that. Because I struggled to read it because of how wordy it was, and it is wordy. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. Usual links will be in the description. I will also add a link to the site where you can purchase these. I make no money from it because I can't. I don't have the reputation to have any sort of business with any of these people. I'm just taking you over to their site if you're interested in purchasing these. Yeah, you want to purchase one of these, site will be in the description. If you want to follow me on any social medias, they will be in the description, as well as my channel description. Say it in every video. Don't know why it doesn't, you know, don't know how this channel can have 201 subscribers, but my Twitter only has like 10 followers. I don't know how that's possible, but still. See you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.